Taking a peek at the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Ford Maverick. Now, there is just a single screen choice that's available this year, and this one is for the 2025 plus models. So you've got that nice fully digital cluster screen that's available. But let's dive in and I'll show you everything that you need to know. First thing is that the steering wheel inside of the ride might be heated, and if you've got the heated option inside of the infotainment system, there's a button there that you can push in order to turn on the heated steering wheel. And there's also the option for your heated first row seats. But the steering wheel is heated all the way around. Now you'll notice there that there's also a little message inside of the cluster. So if you ever get any messages there, if you hit the OK button in the middle of the wheel, that's going to turn off or get rid of any sort of notifications. Steering wheel is going to be manual telescoping. So by your left knee, there's a release there to go in, out, up and down. Once you find that perfect position, click it, lock it back into place. So many different buttons and stocks. So let's go for the left side first. So you obviously got your blinkers there. There's a button on the tip of that stick, and that's to turn the lane keeping system on or off. Inside of the infotainment system, there's the flexibility of adjusting that feature, so you can have it go 3 different ways. So the first one is an alert and the aid. So for the mode there. So the alert, what that one's going to do is that if you start to veer over into another lane without signaling, it's going to give you a little steering wheel vibration, almost like you're running into rumble pavement. The second one, the aid, is going to nudge you back into your lane, and the alert and the aid will do both. So you get a steering wheel vibration, and then it's going to nudge you back into your lane. So it's a pretty good safety system all around, but you can toggle that off if you want to by pushing the button again on the tip of the left stick. You can flash your high beams out too, but down by your left knee there are a series of buttons, so you could toggle your bed lighting on or off. You can figure out what's going on with your running lamps. So I normally just recommend keeping yourself in the auto mode. When you're in the auto headlamp mode, you can't permanently lock your high beams out. You've got some different light modes there, but when you get into the headlamp mode, you can then push away in order to toggle your high beams on, so lock them on, or pull towards you in order to turn them off. It's just that in the auto mode, you can flash your high beams, you just can't permanently lock it out. So what happens in the auto mode is an auto high beam. So if the vehicle recognizes the high beams are needed, they come on automatically. If somebody's oncoming, it turns them off before turning them right back on again. You want to be in the auto mode the majority of the time, but you've got some options there. And then you've got the flexibility of increasing or decreasing the brightness of the cluster if you'd like. The stick along the right-hand side is going to be for your wipers. If you go into the one-up mode, so it's an intermittent mode, you could then use the little rocker in the middle in order to go faster or slower. And then you've got your super fast modes. Then you're just going to pull towards you to get that wiper fluid going. And so many different buttons. Now, this one doesn't have the available Copilot 360 Assist 2.0 package, so that one is going to give you adaptive cruise. So this is just a traditional old school cruise control. So you toggle it on this way, and then from there, you could push down or push up to set your speed. You could then increase or decrease 1 kilometer, 1 mile per hour at a time. You can hit the brake to cancel your speed. You can hit the X button to cancel your speed too. Then, straightforward from there. And as mentioned, there is the option for the adaptive cruise control system too. And that's your set it and forget it cruise control. But if you want to walk through on the cruise control system and adaptive cruise specifically, you'll find that down in the description of this video. You can adjust your volume this way. You can mute out your audio here too. Along the right-hand side, a series of other buttons. So you've got a voice command prompt where you'd be able to do things like change radio stations. You can adjust your climate using your voice. And then on top of that, if you had factory navigation, you could navigate that way. If you had a phone connected through Android or iPhone, so Android or iPhone devices, you can push and hold this button in order to be able to activate your Siri or Google Assistant. You can change songs or stations this way, answer or hang up on a phone call, and then you can also push and hold in to act as a seat button. From there, you can adjust out your different modes. And then you've got a few other buttons here, and that's to navigate through the cluster screen. Inside of the cluster screen, you've got your current engine temperature along the left-hand side, along with your RPM gauge there. Along the right-hand side, you've got your fuel gauge, and then whether or not the driver's seat belt is plugged in, yay or nay. You've got your current direction that you're facing, along with your current vehicle speed. If you've got the lane keeping system on or off, it's going to change up the look of the screen a tiny little bit. Interesting. But along the bottom side there, you can also see if you've got your cruise control system set, yay, nay, along with your current odometer, outside temperatures there, along with whatever drive mode that you're currently in. So whether that's sport mode, if we go back to like an eco mode or normal drive mode, etc. You've got the gear there, so park, reverse, neutral, drive with the auto start stop system. So you could toggle that system off if you wanted to. The downside for the auto start stop system is that every time the truck is turned off and then back on again, you've got to disable that switch. From there, you can see your current fuel level that way too. So you've got your fuel gauge this way or that way. So you've got options there. And then if you hit the buttons along the outside here, so you've got your back button, you can move up or down between different screens, and then you've got a menu button along the top right-hand side of the steering wheel. So if you go to your My View, that's your My View here. So if we configure it, it's which options do you want showing up? So your trip counters, fuel economy, things like that, if you had navigation available, etc. So if we move back for a second here, and then back again, so we're on our My View screen. So if you use this switch to go up or down, that brings you between your different counters. So you've got your trip 1 versus trip 2 counter. If you hop back inside here, you could hop into your My View to go to different things. If you wanted your fuel economy screen, you could go that route. You could push and hold the middle button, the OK button, in order to reset. And that's the same thing across the board. So for your trip counters, you want to reset that, go to either trip 1 or 2, press and hold the OK button. That's going to recenter you out. Moving down, you've got your current station that you're listening to, your compass view. So if you had factory navigation, that would be a little map as well too, so turn-by-turn directions. And then you've got your available tire pressure. Hitting the menu button again brings you into a few other options. So you've got your basic towing screen, so your light status, towing status, etc. Back to your status info for seatbelts. So if you've got multiple people in the vehicle, it can let you know whether or not their seatbelt's actually plugged in. And into vehicle maintenance. So if you're doing things yourself, specifically if you're changing oil yourself, you could reset that counter. And then you've got available tire pressure. So you'll find a few of these things, a few different spots. One down gives you your audio, so you can move between all of your available sources. So AM, FM, Sirius XM. If your phone was hooked up, if you had a USB stick with MP3s on there, that would show up too. And then you've also got available settings. So actually on the back screen, there we go. Phone is currently grayed out, and that's because I don't have a phone connected. But if you did, that would pop up with some additional options, specifically making phone calls. And then you've got some screen content and then different views. So you can also add in a secondary speedometer. So if you're going cross-border, you can go kilometers, miles, and that goes either way. And then you can also figure out whether or not you want nothing showing up or your tachometer on the left gauge there. I'm a bigger fan, actually, I'm going to put that back. I'm a bigger fan of having that tachometer there. And then there was one other one. There we go, your classic view. So you've got your digital speedometer or the rounded speedo gauge instead. So if we hop back now to the home screen, yeah, there we go. I think I'm a bigger fan of that one. Look at that. So as you start to drive, you've got your tachometer still left to the left-hand side, and then you've got your more traditional speedometer in the middle. And then back out. What do you think? Classic view, rounded gauges versus the digital speed only. I think I'm a bigger fan. Yeah, I'm a bigger fan of having that full gauge there. But that one comes down to a matter of personal preference, but outside of that, there's no way that you can adjust the cluster screen out, so it is what it is there. But I know that is a lot of information. That's everything that you need to know about the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Ford Maverick.